Hey there. Subscribe to my channel. And also press this bell icon, so you never miss any new updates, cause whenever we upload new video you will get a notification on your phone.
Crude oil, storage tank, pipelines and oil spill. 11.1 Storage tank hazards for cleaning and desludging. All tanks that have contained crude oil or petroleum products may present one or more of the following hazards during some phase of preparing the tank for entry and cleaning. Fires and explosion. Oxygen deficiency or enrichment. Toxic substances, liquid, vapors, fumes and dust. Physical and other hazard. 11.1.1 Fire and explosion hazard. The potential for a fire within or outside a tank can exist during all phases of tank work from decommissioning through recommissioning. Depending upon a number of factors, including tank design, its integrity, air, fuel ratio and the number of open vents, fire inside a tank may cause an explosion due to expanding gas. 11.1.2 Oxygen deficiency. An oxygen deficiency can exist in tank for a number of reasons. A. The vapors of some hydrocarbons stored in atmospheric or low-pressure tanks are heavier than air and will displace or dilute air. B. If tank has been closed, oxidation, rust, can deplete the tank oxygen content. C. A tank that is maintained under an inert gas will be almost devoid of oxygen. 11.1.3 Oxygen enrichment. An oxygen enrichment hazard is that where the oxygen concentration is over 23.5%. Occasionally, oxygen bottles or cylinders used during tank work may leak and provide a source of oxygen enrichment. 11.1.4 Toxic substances. Toxic substances hazards likely to be encountered in tank entry and cleaning are listed as hereunder. A. Hydrogen sulfide. B. Dusts. C. Petroleum substances. D. Welding fumes. E. Lead-based paints. F. Physical and other hazard. A. Hydrogen sulfide. H2S is an extremely toxic flammable gas that is encountered in the production, processing and storage of sour crude oil. Exposure to high enough concentration of H2S causes death by paralysis of respiratory system. B. Dusts. Dust encountered in tank maintenance includes those caused by the removal rust, paint and tank insulation. C. Petroleum substances. The inhalation of high concentration of hydrocarbon vapors can cause signs and symptoms of intoxication. These symptoms range from dizziness to excitement to unconsciousness. They are similar to those produced by alcohol or anesthetic gases. Appropriate personal protective equipment should be worn according to recommendation and applicable regulation. D. Welding fumes. Toxic fumes are generated during welding on metals coated with or containing alloys of lead, zinc, cadmium, beryllium and certain other metals. Some paints may produce toxic fumes when heated with a welding torch. The potential health effects of welding fumes vary in type and severity depending composition and concentration of fumes generated. E. Lead-based paints. Significant lead exposure can occur during removal of paint from surfaces previously coated with lead-based paint. Cumulative exposure to lead may result in damage to the blood, nervous system, kidneys, bones, heart and reproductive system. Prior to commencing work on a tank, a written lead abatement program shall be developed for the safe removal and handling of lead-based paint. This program shall include procedures for the use of appropriate engineering controls, work practices and personal protective equipment to keep exposure below permissible limits. F. Physical and other hazard. In addition to injury or property damage that may result from fires, explosions, asphyxiation and toxic substances, additional hazards may emerge from the following situations. I. Structural failure of the tank shell, roof support members, swing line cables etc. 2. Falls through corroded roofs or from scaffolds, stairs and ladders. 3. Accidental discharge of steam, high pressure air, water or oil either into the tank or against personnel working outside, due to inadequate isolation. 4. Failure to disconnect or make electrical or mechanical equipment inoperative. V. Use of lighting fixtures inappropriate to hazardous area classification. Vi. Sharp angles, welding lugs etc. within the tank that can snag clothing or skin in addition to tangling or cutting retrieval lines. 11.2 Additional hazard considerations for floating roof tank. The following additional hazard considerations are to be kept in view as a measure to identify, evaluate and protect entrants from potential hazard associated with entry on floating roofs. 11.2.1 Hydrocarbon entrapment hazard. A flammable atmosphere may also be present inside pontoons, device for providing buoyancy, floats, primary and secondary seals areas or underneath floating roofs out of flotation. These areas must be considered as separate confined spaces and must be tested appropriately. These spaces may also need to be ventilated or inerted and the atmosphere retested prior to permitting entry. The flotation and sealing devices should be inspected and hydrocarbon trapped be removed to minimize the potential of fire, oxygen and toxicity hazards. The greatest vapor concentration above the floating roof may be expected when the roof has been out of flotation and is then being refloated. These vapors may persist for extended periods depending on conditions. 11.2.2 Potential fire hazard. Some of the potential fire hazards associated descent upon floating roofs include, but are not limited to the following. A flammable vapor-air mixture may exist in the atmosphere above the floating roof due to roof seal leakage. B. A flammable liquid may be present on the floating roof due to overflow or pontoon leakage. C. A flammable liquid or vapor may be present in the pontoon or seal area due to pontoon leak or seal rupture. D. The leakage of liquids or vapor from pontoons, buoyant foam panels, other flotation devices, linings and seals may result in toxic or flammable vapors being present in the tank vapor space. E. When the floating roof is out of flotation and the liquid level is below the roof support, a flammable vapor-air mixture may exist in the atmosphere below the roof. F. A build of vapors may be more likely in internal floating roof tanks because of the possibility of liquid being retained inside the envelope formed of flotation and sealing components. G. Plastic used in internal floating roofs may be combustible, and this characteristic should be considered, particularly for activities involving hot work or source of ignition. Seals may also be made of combustible material or may be oil-soaked. H. When filling a tank whose roof has been out of flotation and the liquid level has been below the roof level, vapors may be forced through the roof seal and into the atmosphere above the floating roof. 11.2.3 Potential physical hazards. Entry onto floating roofs presents potential physical hazards including but not limited to. A. Floating roofs shall be visually inspected from above for structural stability prior to descent. The height of the roof above the tank bottom may not permit personnel to walk erect. B. Many internal floating roofs are of light construction and walking on the roof surface can be hazardous unless limited to areas designated for that purpose. C. If weak areas are found during inspection or are known to exist in the floating roof, access to these areas shall be prohibited until suitable reinforcement has been provided. D. Defective roof areas or panels, which were not designed to support the weight of the personnel, may be difficult to detect because of the restricted visibility above the roof. E. Entry upon internal floating roofs which do not have pontoons for increased buoyancy should be considered extremely hazardous and conducted under specific safe work procedures and practices to protect entrants from entrapment in case the roof sinks, tilts. E. The outside roofs and covers, wind girders, ladders, stairways, walkways, rails and other roof supports shall be inspected to assure that they can hold the weight of any equipment, material which to be placed on top or attached to them. 11.3 Safety aspects in tank preparation for entry and cleaning. The following precautions but not limited to must be taken while preparing the tank for safe entry and cleaning. A review of tank configuration, piping details, site layout and determined scope of work. B. A review of information concerning the products contained in the tank to be entered and assess potential safety and health hazard for the job. C. Preparation of a safety and work plan for the entire job mentioning the equipment needed and its suitability for area classification, establishment of work permit and emergency response system. 11.3.1 Safety considerations in emptying the tank. The tank shall be emptied of all recoverable products through the tank discharge nozzle and line or other suitable connections. The unrecoverable product that remains below the tank discharge nozzle shall be removed using procedure established by the asset owner in the safety and work plan. However, the following salient points are suggested for inclusion in the tank emptying procedure. A. The tank to emptied through existing lines until the main pump nearly loses suction. B. If a temporary field pump is used to complete the emptying process, check the safety and integrity of the pump, hose and other accessories including conformance to hazardous area classification. C. If the flammable and toxic gas test result is negative and the permit system is satisfied, move the temporary pump and hose to the diked area. D. Confirm that temporary equipment is electrically bonded and grounded. E. Pump out remaining liquid with the field pump until it loses suction. F. Alternate method for removing remaining product is by filling water into the tank and the remaining oily product will float on water and can be removed through discharge line. 11.3.2 Safety considerations in isolating the tank. The tank shall be isolated from all lines connected to the tanks by using blanks, blinds or double block and bleed valves, all of which shall be as close as possible to the tank. If the tank valve or line is to be removed and the tank has cathodic protection, the following precaution to be taken. I. The cathodic protection shall be turned off. 2. A bond wire shall be installed from the tank to the line. 3. The valve or line shall be disconnected and removed along with the bond wire. The following additional safety consideration to be adhered for tank isolation and preparation prior to tank entry. A. Prepare documents required under the permit program and the lockout, tagout procedure including isolating device listing. B. Close all suction and discharge lines at the tank and install lockout, tagout devices. C. Lockout and tagout all energy sources such as pump, motors, mixers and instrumentation devices. D. Use of motorized equipments, such as automobiles, trucks, forklifts, welding machines and compressors shall be limited to safe areas by posting signs and barricading access as necessary. E. If a compressor is used for ventilation, it should be equipped with filters to remove scale, rust, oil, moisture and dust particles, which can be a source of ignition due to static electricity. F. Precaution shall be taken to prevent pyrophoric deposits from becoming an ignition source. G. The metallic parts of ventilating equipment and hoses shall be electrically bonded to the tank. H. Control ignition sources before opening any lines. 11.3.3 Safety considerations in vapor freeing the tank. The tank shall be freed of flammable and hazardous vapors by using appropriate methods that will safely ventilate the tank. In the initial stage of vapor freeing, while the tank still contains high concentrations of flammable vapor, maintenance work in the immediate area surrounding the tank shall be restricted. Since some hydrocarbon vapors are heavier than air, it is advisable to discharge vapors at high elevation for quick dispersion. There are several methods of vapor freeing a tank such as mechanical ventilation, steam ventilation, inert gas purging, natural ventilation. I. Mechanical ventilation. Mechanical ventilation equipment normally consists of air movers, such as adductors or blowers, that are driven by electricity. air or steam. The equipment must be suitable for classified locations and the air movers must be electrically bonded to the tank. Air movers, which have moving parts or can otherwise produce spark or ignition source, should not be used in application where the tank vapors may be in the flammable range and will pass through the air mover. Eductors with no moving parts should be used in such application. 2. Steam ventilation. Steam ventilation may be advantageous in specific cases, but its use introduces some additional hazards. Steam ventilation should be avoided when suitable alternatives are available. 3. Inert gas purging. If this method of gas freeing is used, then additional precautions are necessary to ensure appropriate ventilation for removing the inert gas prior to tank entry and cleaning. 4. Natural ventilation. Natural ventilation simply entails removing the roof and shell manway covers and allowing the tank to stand idle until natural ventilation makes the tank vapor-free. Natural ventilation should be avoided if other methods are available because vapor may drift to a source of ignition. And B. It is highly recommended for the asset owner to prepare a detailed procedure of vapor freeing based on size and type of tank. 11.3.4 Safety precautions for testing the tank atmosphere. Prior to starting any work outside or inside the tank, testing of the tank atmosphere for the following contents shall be carried out in the order as mentioned hereunder. Oxygen content. Flammable vapors. Toxic vapors. The following precautions to be kept in view for testing the tank atmosphere. A. The test equipment should be intrinsically safe or suitable for hazardous area classification. B. The atmosphere around the tank shall be tested after the completion of preparatory steps and during the ventilation process when and how much activity can take place around the tank. C. The test shall be also taken at points where vapors are being exhausted from the tank and in the area around to ensure non-existence of flammable and toxic vapors above permissible levels. D. A qualified person shall test the internal atmosphere to establish existence of permissible entry condition throughout the tank. F. The atmosphere inside tank interior shall be tested especially in critical and suspect areas, such as leaking tank bottom, roof supports, sumps, roof seals, roof drains etc. G. The ventilating equipment should be shut down for 15 minutes allowing tank atmosphere to reach equilibrium conditions before testing the interior. H. The qualified person performing the test shall wear self-contained breathing apparatus, SCBA, and appropriate protective clothing when entering the tank for testing purpose. I. The care shall be taken by the qualified person who performs the tests to ensure that results represent the true condition of the tank. J. Atmospheric testing shall be conducted, as necessary, to protect workers while in the tank and to ensure that the desired atmospheric conditions are maintained throughout. K. The results of atmospheric testing, the time of testing, and the signature of the person who performed the tests shall be recorded in the entry permit, as well as in the work permit. L. If test results and tank conditions are acceptable, the entry permit for work will be issued. If test results are not acceptable, then ventilation process will continue and testing steps will be repeated. M. The table as hereunder indicates the permissible levels with respect to entry and work restrictions. Entry without respiratory protection permitted. Refer Note 1 and 2. Oxygen concentration between 19.5% and 23.5%. H2S concentration is less than 10 parts per million. Air contaminants are below permissible exposure limits, PEL, and hydrocarbon concentration is less than 1% of L. An adequate flow of fresh air is maintained. Respiratory protection required for entry. Oxygen content is less than 19.5% or greater than 23.5%. H2S concentration is greater than 10 parts per million. Air contaminants are above permissible exposure limit, PEL. Hydrocarbon concentration is greater than 1% L but less than 10% L. No entry, Hydrocarbon concentration is greater than 10% L. Hazardous materials such as acids or caustics are present. The toxicity of atmosphere is immediately dangerous to life or health. The facility or associated process are experiencing operational problem. Note: 1. It is to be taken care that level of gas concentrations may change due to variation in ambient temperature. 2. The entry in a tank having sludge or residue inside shall be permitted only by using BA sets all the time. 11.4 Precautions for entry upon floating roof tank. 11.4.1 Ventilation requirements. Mechanical forced air ventilation arrangement will vary according to the type, size and configuration of the tank. Air or steam-driven adductors or blowers are recommended in order to reduce ignition hazards. If electric motor-driven blowers are used, they shall be suitable for the hazardous area classification. All air movers shall be properly bonded to the tank shell or roof to eliminate the possibility of any electrostatic accumulation. A. The atmosphere within the work area shall be periodically tested as necessary to ensure that the continuous mechanical forced air ventilation is preventing the accumulation of any hazardous atmosphere. B. Ventilation equipment should be shut down for 15 minutes to allow the tank atmosphere to reach equilibrium conditions before testing the interior. C. In addition to hydrocarbon flammability factors, tank must be evaluated with respect to potentially toxic exposure. 11.4.2 Testing the atmosphere above and below the floating roof. In addition to precautions and procedures described in Section 6.4 for testing the tank atmosphere, the following care should also be kept in view. A. In case of floating roof tanks, particularly the internal type, initial oxygen, flammable vapor and toxic substances test may be made with an instrument equipped with an extension device. B. This testing can be done from the top of the tank so that preliminary readings can be obtained without descending onto the internal roof. C. For descent onto the tank roof for further testing, the tester should have appropriate respiratory protection and protective clothing. D. The entry supervisor shall assure that all necessary tests have been conducted and all personnel, procedures and equipment required by the entry permit are in place before authorizing descent on floating roof. E. As a minimum, atmospheric testing shall be conducted prior to descent at the beginning of each shift, prior to re-entry after any prolonged periods of inactivity or work interruption, prior to starting hot work and any time conditions are suspected to have changed. F. The atmospheric testing in work area above the surface of floating roof shall be either continuous or conducted as necessary to assure the continuation or maintenance of permitted safe working conditions. G. The need for continuous or intermittent monitoring and the use of approved respiratory protective equipment shall depend on the results of the testing and the potential for increased atmospheric contamination or oxygen availability during entry and work operation. H. If potential exists for acute toxic exposures, such as H2S, then continuous monitoring equipment shall be used even if initial monitoring indicates safe level. I. The criteria for entry without respiratory protection will be based on permissible exposure limit, ppm, rather than % of LFL. J. The results of testing the atmosphere above floating roof must meet the following criteria. I. The oxygen content of the air is at least 19.5% and not greater than 23.5% for entry onto the floating roof without air-supplied respiratory protection, provided there is no flammable or toxic concentration. 2. The oxygen content of the atmosphere is at least 10% in order to accurately determine flammable hydrocarbon vapor levels. 3. Hydrocarbon vapor level in the atmosphere are below 10% will in order to allow entry onto the floating roof with approved respiratory protection system. 11.5 Precautions for descent onto external, open, top, floating roofs. Before initial descent onto the floating roof is authorized, The assigned tester shall conduct atmospheric tests from outside the tank. The following precautions in this regard is to be observed. A. In order to defeat the possibility of a static electricity discharge, the tester, when approaching the top and before opening any gauge hatch or other opening, shall touch the steel handrail or tank shell with a bare hand. B. After atmospheric tests have been conducted from outside the tank, the tester shall descend cautiously for the purpose of gas testing, wearing an approved air-supplied respirator if the tank contains sour tank. C. An attendant shall be stationed at the platform or access ladder on the roof of the tank, to observe and maintain visual and/or oral contact with the tester during the initial descent. D. The external floating roof should be in flotation and the bleeder valve closed prior to descent. E. Entrants shall not be allowed to descend onto an external floating roof, which is out of flotation, until atmospheric testing has been conducted both above and below the roof and the condition is acceptable. F. Following the initial descent and completion of atmospheric testing and inspection by tester, the entry supervisor shall ensure that all required conditions specific to the proposed work have been met prior to issuing an entry permit. G. Leg positioning pins should be located in the high roof position with retaining cotta pins. This precaution will facilitate cleaning operation by supporting the roof at as high a position as possible above the tank bottom. H. Atmospheric testing shall be conducted continuously or at regular intervals during work on the external floating roof. If the work is to be performed on or near seals, vents or other openings, additional testing must be conducted to assure that the atmosphere in the immediate work area meets established safe work conditions. I. Any entry into the pontoons or underneath the secondary seals of an external floating roof shall be considered as permit-required confined space entry. Each individual space shall be checked to determine the atmospheric conditions prior to issuance of entry permit. J. Should operating, physical or atmospheric conditions change so that the area is no longer safe for work, entrants shall leave the floating roof immediately and shall not return until the safe entry conditions are confirmed through retesting as per procedure. K. At the end of each work period or upon vacating the external floating roof for any extended period of time, the floating roof shall be returned to safe conditions, as near to normal as possible. 11.6 Precautions for descent onto internal floating roofs. Descent onto internal floating roofs or covered floating roofs constitutes permit-required confined space entry, and all associated safety requirements must be met as summarized, but not limited to, as hereunder. A. The entry supervisor is responsible to ensure that all the required conditions specific to the proposed work have been met, prior to issuing the entry permit. B. The potential atmospheric hazards, flammable, toxic and oxygen deficiency, in the space between the internal floating roof and the cover on the top of the tank shall duly be considered. C. The internal floating roof should be in flotation, not sitting on its legs, and bleeder valve closed prior to descent. D. Entrants shall not be allowed to descend onto an internal floating roof, which is out of flotation, sitting on its legs, until atmospheric testing has been conducted both above and below the floating roof and conditions allow the issuance of work permit. E. Prior to descent, the internal floating roofs shall be checked for potential physical hazards and stability. The potential for falling through or tilting aluminum, expanded foam, or plastic floating roof shall be evaluated. F. All electrical and other power-operated equipment such as tank mixers, heaters, steam coils and remote control tank valves shall be shut off at their motor controllers and locked and / or tagged as per procedure. G. Continuous forced air mechanical ventilation may be necessary to maintain a safe atmosphere in the space above the internal floating roof. H. Any entry into the pontoons or underneath the secondary seals of an internal floating roof shall be considered as permit-required confined space entry. Each individual space shall be checked to determine the atmospheric conditions prior to issuance of entry permit. I. Should operating, physical or atmospheric conditions change so the area is no longer safe for work, entrants shall leave the internal floating roof immediately and shall not return until the safe entry conditions are confirmed through retesting as per procedure. J. Product shall never be put into a tank while entrants are on an internal or covered open-top floating roof. K. Entrants engaged in cleaning liquid products, sludge, rust and scales on tanks which have previously contained sour crude or toxic gas such as H2S, shall wear appropriate approved personal protective clothing and air-supplied respiratory apparatus or self-contained breathing apparatus. 11.7 Safety and rescue equipment. Difficult rescue situations can develop if entrants become ill, are injured, or are otherwise incapacitated while on the floating roof or inside the tank. The appropriate rescue provision to be used will depend upon the type, service, operations of the tanks and the work being performed. The safety plan for tank work should include a means for timely rescue of workers from the tank with following considerations. A. Self-contained breathing apparatus, SCBA, should be immediately available at the tank for rescue operation by the trained personnel. B. A light-weight material to spread the weight of personnel over a greater area of floating roof. C. A rescue toboggan, which will fit through the roof manway for lifting an incapacitated person out of the tank. D. Safety harness and lifeline should be used when descending on the floating roof. E. A davit, which can be attached to the fixed roof tank for lifting the toboggan with an incapacitated person out of the tank. F. An attendant shall be stationed at the top of the ladder or near the roof opening to maintain visual or oral contact with entrants on the floating roof. G. The attendant shall immediately advise the entrants if an emergency occurs elsewhere in or near the facility, which requires them to exit from the floating roof. 11.8 Decommissioning Safety Check. The decommissioning safety check as tabulated hereunder shall be carried out. S. No. Decommissioning safety check status. 1. Electrical dash. The tank shell earthing connections are removed. The earth cables associated with floating roof cover are disconnected and intact. The grounding seal, bonding shunts on the floating roof are removed. The cathodic protection system on the piping is de-energized. Electrical fittings associated with any side entry mixers are disconnected. The temporary equipment, such as pumps and hoses etc., used for emptying out the tank, are electrically bonded and grounded. The metallic parts of ventilating equipment and hoses shall be electrically bonded to the tank. 2. Operational dash. Inlet V versus to tank are isolated, spaded and tagged. The tank is emptied out till the field pump loses suction. The flotation and sealing devices are free from hydrocarbon. The tank is thoroughly vapor-freed. All outlet valves from the tank are isolated, spaded and tagged after the tank is empty and vapor-free. The tank atmosphere has been tested for oxygen content, flammable and toxic vapors, and the results are acceptable from safety viewpoints. 3. Fire protection dash. The foam lines and their associated fittings are disconnected after necessary override. The sprinkler system is isolated and disconnected. The fire protection system is override and isolated. Confirm prior to opening any line that there is no ignition source in the vicinity. 4. Mechanical dash. The internal floating cover is removed. The side entry mixers are removed. 5. Instruments dash. Tank level gauging equipment is disconnected. Any separate high or low level alarms are override. The tank temperature measurement instrumentation is disconnected. Any instrumentation associated with side entry mixers is removed. 11.9 Entry permits for the tank. Before entering a tank, a written entry permit shall be issued by a qualified person. The qualified person who issues the permit shall be familiar with the configuration of the tank to be entered and the reason for tank entry. Conditions and precautionary measures for entry will depend upon the potential hazards associated with the entry, Atmospheric test results, other physical hazards, and structural conditions and constraints. The conditions within the tank will determine the level of precautions necessary for entry. However, the following considerations to be kept in view prior to authorizing entry permits. A. All tanks shall be considered to require entry with special precautions until the results of tank atmosphere tests demonstrates otherwise. B. If tank entry is required in order to verify atmospheric tests conducted from the exterior of the tank, then the appropriate level of respiratory and protective equipment shall be worn to protect the tester from any potential hazards within the tank. C. The tank conditions shall be carefully monitored throughout the entry, as necessary, to ensure conditions remain within permitted entry levels. D. If conditions change during course of entry, all work shall stop and workers shall exit the tank until the conditions can be reassessed. E. Any tank that has been cleaned but closed and inactive shall be retested for entry as though it were the initial test. F. Appropriate respiratory and protective equipment shall be kept ready to meet the existing and potential atmospheric conditions within the tank and to allow the performance of specific tasks or activities. G. A contingency plan shall be prepared for retrieval and rescue operation. 11.10 Precaution during tank cleaning. The tank entry permit shall be executed provided the test's results and tank conditions are acceptable and safe for entry, ignition source have been controlled, no lightning storms are threatening and the integrity of the tank is satisfactory. The following consideration shall be kept in view during the tank cleaning operations. A. A prior arrangement shall be made for disposal of tank sludge, which must comply with company and state regulations for disposal in environmentally approved manner. B. Prior to physical sludge removal, it is advisable to remove as much of the sludge as possible by resuspending and pumping it out. This is particularly viable if the sludge level is above manways. C. The workers who enter the tank for cleaning shall wear appropriate protective clothing for atmospheric conditions and for the task to be performed. D. If a tank is entered while under special precautions, OSHA permit, required confined space, at least one attendant shall be made available as standby personnel outside the tank to monitor activities, record entrance, control potential hazards and coordinate for rescue operations. E. Atmospheric testing shall continue periodically such as at the start of each workday, at each shift and during the shift as conditions change due to temperature increase, agitation of sludge, leaking tank bottom exposed, piping leaks, hydrocarbon absorbed in roof seal etc. F. If the tank has side manholes, water hose stream can be used for cleaning from outside the tank. The hose nozzle must be electrically bonded to the tank. G. The loose sludge and waste materials shall be removed and as needed the tank can be washed from inside. H. Tank nozzles, columns, floating roofs and support members are capable of trapping hydrocarbons and should be cleaned. The areas above floating roof and flotation compartments should also cleaned. I. Continuous ventilation should be ensured throughout the cleaning process. The impact of gaseous emissions resulting from cleaning operations shall be taken into account. J. The contractor engaged in the off-site transportation of the sludge must comply with EPA regulations in this regard. K. The workers inside the tank should be closely monitored, particularly working during warm climates. L. The required control over potential ignition sources should be continuously maintained. 11.11 Precautions during hot work inside the tank. If the tank repairing involve hot work, then the surface to be heated, including roofs, structural, scaffoldings and pontoons, shall be free of flammable vapor and liquid, ignitable scale deposits, waxes and other deposits that may evolve vapors. Sometimes such deposits are hidden on the upper surfaces of roof rafters and flammable vapor analyzers may not indicate the presence of these materials. Extreme care and consideration as mentioned hereunder shall be taken prior to starting hot work inside the tank. A. flammable and toxic liquids and vapors may enter through leak in the tank bottom or may evolve from pockets that exist in spaces such as pipe column roof supports, chambers, swing lines, and sumps etc. B. The application of heat may produce flammable or toxic vapors. The frequent test shall be made to verify that the atmosphere in the tank is not in the land, or TLV range of such substances. C. Tanks that contain waxy substances and heavy oils can emit flammable vapors and be ignited. D. Toxic atmospheres may originate from welding fumes, the material being welded or the lead-based paint coatings. E. The necessary protection shall be provided against hazardous materials such as toxic vapors generated from welding rods or coatings, dust produced by wire brushing or grinding, and exposed hot metallic surface. F. The sewers and drains should be covered and oil-contaminated soil should be removed if hot work is to be carried outside the tank. G. There is a possibility of oxygen-enriched atmosphere from leaking hoses, torches or cylinder valves when using acetylene/propane burning equipment. I. Oxygen and other gas bottles shall not be taken inside the tank for hot work requirement and hoses and torches should be disconnected from source if not in use for longer duration. J. A hot work permit shall be issued by a qualified person before starting the work and atmospheric tests must be taken in surrounding and immediate area of work. K. The fire extinguishers or pressurized fire water hose in working order shall be kept available at the work location. L. The area in which hot work will be performed must be thoroughly cleaned and visual inspections must be undertaken for cleanliness of wall bottoms, together with atmospheric tests. M. Continuous ventilation may minimize the accumulation of flammable vapors inside the tank. 11.12 Recommissioning the tank. The planning and procedure to recommission the tank must consider the following safety aspects. A. The tank must be surveyed thoroughly to ensure cleaning and other work completion, tank internals replaced, floating roof components installed and no debris or maintenance tools left inside. B. All manways shall be closed properly and all unexpired permits are revoked. C. The inspection and corrosion team must confirm about any required mechanical integrity tests such as hydrotest. D. All blinds and tags used for lockout or tagout must be removed and signed off. E. The tank must be filled with water up to level covering pump suction connection. Subsequently the tank shall be purged with nitrogen venting the exhaust gas through the vent at topmost position. The purging shall continue till 4% oxygen content is achieved in the tank. 11.12.1 Returning floating roof tank to service. When a flammable product is pumped into an empty floating roof tank, some of the vapors above the liquid will remain below the floating roof and some may be expelled to the space above the floating until the roof floats. The following safety considerations must be kept in view while returning a floating tank to service. A. Vapor above or below the roof may be in the flammable range. B. In case of internal floating roof tanks, vapor may be expelled from the vents and pumping to refloat the roof shall not be done during a lightning storm or with electrical or mechanical ventilating equipment in service. C. Any source of ignition shall not be permitted in the vicinity of the tank during roof refloating. D. The precautions concerning pumping rates and prevention of splashing to prevent static ignition and to minimize vapor generation shall be observed with external and internal floating roof tanks until the roof is floating. E. Sampling or hand gauging shall not be done during filling operation of tank. F. Personnel shall not go onto the top of internal floating roof tanks or on the floating roof of external floating roof tanks for a period of approximately 18 hours after refloating or until the vapor concentration above the roof is below 10% while in the atmosphere is safe to breathe. 11.12.2 Recommissioning Safety Check. The recommissioning safety check as tabulated hereunder shall be carried out. S. No. Recommissioning safety check status. 1 Inspection The tank foundation have been inspected and confirmed to be in satisfactory condition. The bund walls have been reinstated. The dike drainage system is serviceable and clean. Necessary repairs to the tank have been carried out. Tank fittings and valves have been correctly reinstalled and serviceable. To electrical dash. The tank shell is grounded and earthed. The earth cables associated with floating roof cover are securely connected and intact. The grounding seal, bonding shunts on the floating roof are correctly installed and intact. The cathodic protection system on the piping has been reinstated. Electrical fittings associated with any side entry mixers have been correctly installed. 3 instruments dash. Tank level gauging equipment has been reinstalled and function tested. Any separate high or low level alarms have been reinstalled and function tested. The tank temperature measurement instrumentation has been correctly reinstalled. Any instrumentation associated with side entry mixers have been correctly replaced. 4 fire protection dash. The foam lines and their associated fittings have been correctly installed. The deluge system is correctly installed. The fire protection system has been function tested as per applicable code and standards. 5 operational dash. The tank has been inspected internally and is acceptable for service. The tank has been inspected externally, including the roof and any internal floating cover, and is acceptable for service. All roof drains, water draw-off, suction and discharge versus are serviceable and identified. The tank drain valves are closed. The bund wall drain valve is tightly closed. 6 mechanical dash. Materials and debris from all corners of the tank have been removed outside the dike area for appropriate disposal. The internal floating cover has been installed in accordance with manufacturer's requirements. The side entry mixers have been correctly installed. Handrails on stairways and around the tank roof are intact and secure. The roof ladder is correctly positioned and intact. The roof legs are all in position and correctly set. The automatic vent legs are correctly installed and have been tested. The roof drain sumps are clear of debris and all check valves are operational. Any free vent on the tank shell, roof have mesh, screen fitted and free from blockage. All manways cover on roof are closed. 11.12.3 Tank filling. Once the above-mentioned safety checks results are acceptable, then the tank will be lined up for filling and the following precautions are to be taken during the operation. A. The initial filling is to be carried out slowly until the tank suction line is well submerged to avoid turbulence and generation of static charges. B. As the open area above the liquid level may go through the flammable range, hence a strict control of ignition sources is required. The tank shall not be filled during lightning storm. C. The floating roof tank shall be filled slowly to avoid canting of roof until roof lifts off its support legs. D. The workers should not go on top of the floating roof tanks for a period of approximately 18 hours after refloating or until the vapor concentration above the roof is below 10% LFL and the atmosphere is safe to breathe. E. The tank and line shall be checked frequently for leak during filling process, especially manholes and nozzles that were opened. F. The required documentation is to be completed after tank is filled up to the operating level. 11.13 Safety during tank construction, erection and maintenance. A. Safety aspects during tank construction. Tanks shall be constructed in accordance with internationally accepted codes and standards, such as American Society of Mechanical Engineers, ASME, American Society for Testing and Material, ASTM, American Petroleum Institute, API, and Institute of Petroleum, IP. The following safety aspects must be kept in view during tank construction phase. A. All above-ground tanks designed for the storage of low flash point or intermediate range products shall be completely surrounded by a firewall unless the topography of the surrounding area is such that spillage due to Overflow or a major leak from any tank are directed quickly and safely to a depression or impounding bund located within the boundary. The bund capacity should be a minimum of 115% of tank capacity. B. The bund wall shall be designed to withstand the pressure, to which it would be subjected if the volume within the walled enclosure were filled with water. C. Adequate drainage shall be provided for safe removal of water from the walled enclosure or depression. D. The piping arrangement for above-ground tank, enclosed by a firewall shall not run through other bunded area. However, piping of tanks within a group may cross intermediate toe walls within that group. This condition does not apply to intermediate bund walls of paired tanks. E. Pumps shall be located outside the bund area unless high flash point viscous stock requires the pump to be located within the bunded area. The piping, valves or flanges shall also be kept to the minimum required and buried wherever possible. Any fittings prone to failure on exposure fire shall be avoided. B. Safety aspects during tank erection. The following safety aspects must be kept in view during tank erection. A. The area in which a tank is to be erected must be made safe for hot work activities before mobilizing construction material at site. B. As far as practicable, each tank should be housed in the individual bund. C. Any crude oil storage tank in the vicinity of erection site shall be adequately protected considering the fire eventuality. D. When a new tank is to be constructed in close proximity to an existing tank, forming a group within a common bund, the tank containing intermediate or low flash point products must be emptied, cleaned and made gas-free before erection of the new tank commences. E. Plates shall be securely held in position by temporary cleats or tack welds until finally secured by riveting or welding. F. To reduce the possibility of damage by wind, all the plates in uppermost strake shall be supported properly in position and secured adequately when left unattended at the end of the working day. G. During erection of fixed roof tank, when a height of 4 strakes is reached, adequate guy ropes shall be attached to each plate of the uppermost stake, preventing damage by wind pressure. The same requirement shall be observed for floating roof tanks also if roof flotation is not employed during construction phase. H. After erection, the tank shall be subjected to hydraulic test as per applicable code and standard. A prior arrangement shall be made to safely dispose off water from the tank on completion of hydrotest. I. The pneumatic testing of the erected tank may also be carried out provided the protection against pressure exceeding the safe limit has been incorporated. The pneumatic testing shall not be carried out during high ambient temperature. J. The necessary protection must also be taken for preventing formation of vacuum inside the tank. C. Safety aspects during tank maintenance. Any maintenance work on a tank is subject to authorization through appropriate work permits fulfilling the safety requirement for the job. The following safety aspects must be kept in view during tank maintenance. A. Extra care shall be exercised in assessing the safety requirement prior to authorizing the maintenance work. All potential hazards, such as possible presence of oil, gas pockets below bottom plates, pertinent to hot work shall be considered. B. The stability of tank roof structure must be ascertained before attempting to land on it. If required, firmly supported scaffolding may be erected prior to access the location. C. Plates are not to be thrown from the top of tanks but lowered to the ground by ropes or lifting tackle. Steps must be taken to ensure that materials and tools do not fall to the bottom of the tanks. D. Handrails around tank tops must not be used to support any form of scaffolding or in raising or lowering of roof plates. 11.14 Pipeline safety. A. Safety aspects during pipeline installation. The following safety aspects must be kept in view during pipeline installation. A. The workers deployed for installation or dismantling stacks of pipe must protect themselves from hazard and danger associated with the work. B. The pipe spool shall be guided into position using tag lines attached to it. C. Coated pipes shall be stacked in such a way that the coating is not damaged. D. The pipes being transported through a trailers or sea-bound vessel shall be secured along with side restraints to prevent any accidental fall. The pipe shall be lifted safely with suitable lifting gear and tackles and must not be dragged at sight. E. Dollies, rollers or any form of packing used for pipe support to facilitate its rotation while welding, shall be properly secured to prevent pipe tilt during the operation. F. The submarine pipelines shall be suitably buried under the seabed and protected from accidental damage as per international standard and recommended practice in this regard. G. The most suitable measures, such as pipe sleeve, thickness compensation, covering with concrete slabs or culvert, shall be used to protect the pipeline crossing near the road. H. The exposed portions of pipelines shall be identified as per color coding stipulated under company standard. I. The valve pits and sump shall be kept free from water or hydrocarbon accumulation. A suitable drainage facility shall be provided for draining and venting away from the pipeline. J. Pipelines running trough open trenches shall be kept free from water accumulations by natural drainage or suitable pumping device shall be installed for dispose of such accumulation safely. K. The hot surface pipelines shall have proper insulation preventing injury due to accidental contact. L. The pipeline supports must be properly designed and installed avoiding undesirable stress in the system. B. Safety aspects during pipeline operation. The following safety aspects must be kept in view during pipeline operations. A. The valves and fittings on the pipeline shall be operated by authorized personnel only. B. The necessary care shall be exercised to prevent excessive pressure buildup due to ambient temperature rise in closed sections of the pipeline. C. A close monitoring shall be kept and pipeline shall be regularly inspected to assess its health and integrity. D. In case a pipeline carrying hydrocarbon, chemical or other harmful material leaks, then the surrounding area shall be considered as hazardous area and accordingly precautions complying with fire and safety regulations shall be strictly implemented. E. The required warning notices shall be posted at appropriate location depending upon nature and extent of leakage. Moreover, immediate measures shall be taken to arrest the leakage. F. The area shall be cordoned off and corrective action mobilized with all safety considerations in hand. G. The leakage site shall not be left unattended until necessary repairs have been made, leak arrested and the area is declared safe after thorough inspection. C. Safety aspects during decontamination of pipeline. The following safety aspects must be kept in view during decontamination of pipeline. A. All decontamination works, such as depressurizing, venting, draining, flushing and purging, shall be carried out in compliance to work permit system in this regard. B. Prior to draining the pipeline content, the arrangement must be made to dispose it off safely and environmental-friendly manner. C. The workers deployed for dismantling of pipelines must take necessary care against possible exposure to line residues. D. It is prohibited to use compressed air for purging an oil pipeline, where subsequent welding is to take place. Air must never be used under any circumstance.
Please give comment and suggestions.
Thank you.
Subscribe our YouTube channel and hit the bell icon for more updates. Thank for visit our channel. See you next class.
Thank you.